Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It is Thursday night, the 17th of December, and these are the charts of the day. Well, a pretty crummy day on Wall Street, although a lot of stocks we follow did well. I'm going to go over some longs and some shorts today. So fasten your seatbelts, sit back and enjoy. Starting with ADSX on the long side, alphabetically as always. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves down. The fifth wave a little bit truncated and holding at the prior low. And then yesterday's breakaway gap and today's follow-through gets up to resistance. Now, secondary resistance up around 1450.60 is where I think it's going. And if we can really get that mojoing with some energy, we could see 16, 16 and a half. Those are my targets going forward. There's still approximately 14 days to cover, and that could really fuel this. Now that it's above the declining tops line and moving averages, what I would look for is a run-up, maybe a pullback consolidation, then it's off to the races. Potentially, we'll see. AMSC, a good day today, jumping $1.67 or 40% nearly on 3/4 of a mile, 717,000 shares, 25.7 days to cover. Look at the long channel on this one. It's been down for, since 2013 when it traded near 30, and it got down in the 3 range, so almost a 90% collapse. Finally, a little bit of a base, and you can see that it popped out today, gapping and running, and up against key resistance across these lows and highs in here. So this is the breakout point. We either break out above the declining tops and lateral resistance. If we get a follow through, we could take it to 7.25 and then about 890. Those could be targets going forward. So keep a close tab on this one with that big short position. It may start to run. CVS, moving on to ERI. ERI, Ollie's favorite, and some of the people in this group liking this stock. This gaming stock is continuing to look great. With the market pullback that's held its own, you can see key support around 840.50 and resistance right up here at today's high near 1068. Now close up 69 cents or 7%. This stock traded to over 200,000, which is a good volume for that stock. I'm looking for 11 3/4 and 12 3/4, and then we can get that into the mid-teens. EYES had a big day, finally popping through the declining tops line, taking out the lateral price resistance as well here, and extending for 74 cents or 11.5% today on 2.1 million. Good volume for that stock. Also breaking out. I'm expecting a test of the 8.5 zone short term. We get through that, we could see 10.5. With 9.3 days to cover, keep an eye on this one. Big, long decline, and we may very well do a nice Fed retracement here. GLOB had a nice pop of $1.78 or almost 5%. With 7.8 days to cover, it looks like this long-term top-tier stock looks like it wants to go higher. My targets are mid to high 40s, and eventually way up in the mid to high 50s. And by the way, GLOB with 7.8 days to cover. JD looking very good. Some of these Chinese stocks are really acting well. Although it did back way off the high, it was only up a small fraction. It did peak out above resistance and get up to the top of the channel before backing off, but I'm looking for a move to 35.5 and eventually to 37.5 on this one. Well, a stock you haven't heard me talk about, Candy. I discovered that today after a multiple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways down, an explosive move off the lows from 5 all the way up to 11, the stock then went into a wedge or a flag pattern. Today, in the last couple days, you can see it moved up, a decent volume of over 1 million shares. Looks to me like it's going to test the 11.25, 11.38 area tomorrow, and it could easily get through that double top. If it does, it completes a bottoming pattern, and then the measured move gets us way up into the mid-teens. 9 days to cover. Pacific Bio's making a move. Our swing trade is acting well. We had one beautiful swing trade on it here, and then a consolidation. Today may be going. Watch tomorrow around 11. The 1095. 10 area to 11 range, if broken, could lead to 12, 13 zone, my next target. Looking very good. There's 7.6 days to cover on this one. Well, somebody, Solars packed off today, but not RUN Sunrun. After popping all the way up to the top of the channel where resistance is, top of the lateral resistance zone, I should say, reaching as high as 1330, close to 1271, but still up $1.08, 9.3%, and 3.6 million, good volume. However, long in the tooth, short term, and at the point where it's near its post-IPO high, so we could get a pullback. But with 8.5 days to cover, I don't think it's going to be a steep pullback. We shall see. ReWalk, one of the biggest days in its history with 7.1 million shares opened at 782, went to 1359 before backing off to 11 at the close. It was up $5 today on 83%. There's still 12 days to cover. We may very well see a follow through. It takes us up to 1450. Stay tuned. SCO mojoing over 142 today. Fantastic. The stock in 5 weeks has gone from 73 to 142, doubling. It's at the top of the channel. It's near lateral resistance, and yet I can see some more momentum taking us to 150-60 range. And finally, SCTY, fantastic move, but it's long in the tooth, and also, like in the case of Run, also near overhead resistance. These have gone too far too fast. Need to pull back and consolidate, but I did want to show you the pattern. 5.7 days to cover. Let's move to the box of shorts area. Starting with A, B, and B. The Biomed has been in this pattern with a sharp pullback and a rising wedge, a sharp hit, and a long multi-week pattern that indicates to me we're at resistance. Now today it dropped 87 cents, or only 1%. But if it starts to fall, it could fall quickly like it did here, here, and here. And I'd be looking for a leg down to test around a 68.70 zone if it takes out 75.6. ANIP also backed off resistance, not only lateral, but declining tops line. You can see if it breaks this line here, it takes out this coil, it could come down hard. Wave 1, 2, 3, and 4. With a wave 5, we could reach even in the low 30s, but let's start with 36. Buffalo Wild Wings, after the crush a month and a half ago, it's formed a big bear wedge, and it looks like it's about to collapse. Watch this tomorrow. If it takes out 156, you could see a rapid drop of at least 10 more points. Eventually, getting it all the way down to the mid 120s or 30 points from here. CEB, well, it's getting crushed. I gave you a box short here. It came down, hit my target, and then ran up again, only to roll over hard, real hard, taking it from 77 to 61 in the last couple weeks. Now, I'm not advocating aggressive shorting, but with a break today through this and into the gap, you could very well see something in the mid to high 50 short term. Prieto coming down off of key overhead resistance and rolling over ever so slowly, but if this line breaks and it closes right on it, you could see a retest of that 32, 33 zone very quickly, maybe much more. The bottom of the channel says even high 20s. CVS, after breaking down and forming a wedge, or a flag I should say, today it dropped 285 or almost 3%. It feels like it wants to go lower. And at this point, I'm looking for at least a move down into the high 80s. VOV coming down off of its major decline here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and wave 4. Wave 5 is starting, which could take this ultimately to 50, 51. My initial target is 55, and let's call it 51 after that. Harmon, breaking down, rising wedge, and then breaking down again. If it breaks any further than this, it could take out the double bottom or 84, which would be my first target, and eventually get into the low 70s. Hasbro is rolling over. This broke support today. Notice that after it broke, it formed a little wedge in here. It came down hard today, 282 or 4%, but it looks like the beginning of a drop. It could take it to 60. Well, Papa John's is finally breaking too after the big hit here, and the wedge formed. We put a swing on it. It looks like it's coming to fruition. Today dropped 121 or 2%. If it gets below 53, we could see 49.50. Nasty looking pattern. Qualis. Well, we nailed it here. It came down hard in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it took 3 months to form this rising wedge, which appears to be rolling over again. Your targets are 31.2 and 28, maybe even as low as 25. Red Robin continues to fall. After this wedge broke, it formed a large consolidation and got creamed and formed a big bear wedge, and it's coming down again. Although it's at the bottom of the channel, at least the way I've drawn it, it could accelerate lower and get to the mid and even low 50s. The last day is Williams-Sonoma, which we also gave you a swing short here in the high 70s, and then on this bear flag here in the mid 70s, came all the way down now to under 60 to as low as 58.5 range before bouncing, but it doesn't look very good, and today backed off another 2% or $1.21. It just feels like it could suddenly spike down into the mid 50s or lower. And that's it for tonight, both the long and short of it. Tough market out there. Fasten your seatbelts tomorrow. Bye now.